Luncheon. I would like to welcome my pastor, Nick Drake from Action Church Sanford, to lead us in the invitation.
Good afternoon, how are we doing? Good. Hey, like Trish said, my name is Nick. I'm the location pastor of Action Church in Sanford, but I also have the privilege and honor of being one of the chaplains at the Sanford Police Department, and I'm just grateful for any opportunity we have to serve our community and our city here. And so with that, would you bow your heads as we pray? God, we come to you with gratitude, God, for what you have done in and through the city of Sanford, Lord. I pray as we look back on what you've done, Lord, I pray we would find ourselves grateful for what has been accomplished, God. And I pray that as we look ahead at what's to come through the end of this year and into 2025, God, I pray that we would have an immeasurably more kind of faith, God, that you could do infinitely more than we could ever ask, think, or imagine, God. I pray for our city leadership, God. I pray for clarity. I pray for unity, God. We honor our city leaders, God. And I pray for our community members, our community leaders, God, that we would be unified as one with the city to help accomplish what you have for us, God, what we want to accomplish in the city to make us stronger, healthier, and more unified. Lord, would you be with us here today? Would you bless this time together? It's in your name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Okay, and I'd like to welcome the Assistant City Manager, Craig Radzek, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
So I'd like to request everybody if you could silence your cell phones just for the presentation this afternoon. And I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today. On behalf of the Sanford Chamber and Sanford Main Street, I'd like to take a moment to recognize some special guests who are here with us and thank them for all they do for our community. I ask that you please hold your applause till the end. We have Sanford's Mayor, Art Woodruff, DeBerry's Mayor, Karen Chazet, Deltona's City Commissioner, Dana McCole, Ms. Lourdes Leon, the President of the Hispanic Chamber of Central Florida, along with Mr. Joe Hearn, Vice President of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, or Chamber of Central Florida, Commissioners Lee Constantine, Commissioner Carrie Wiggins, Commissioner Sheena Brighton, Mr. Daniel Lewis, President of Sanford Main Street, and Mr. David Johnson, Seminole County Property Appraiser. Thank you for everything you do to make our Central Florida community an outstanding place to live. Additionally, a big thank you to our sponsors whose support makes events like this possible. We have the City of Sanford, Orlando Sanford International Airport, Resolute Tissue, Waste Pro, Foundation and Seminole State College, Custom Disaster and Recovery, McLean Pearson Associates, St. John's Rivership Professional Real Estate Company, and CPH Incorporated. Now, please join me in welcoming Mayor Art Woodruff to the stage.
Good afternoon. It's a beautiful day in the city of Sanford, as always. I was trying to, some of y'all saw me making notes. I was trying to make a list of all the people I need to make sure I recognize. And luckily, she took care of a lot of them. But as I'm going through, I'm like, really, it's friends and friends of the city of Sanford. So thank you so much for being here. There are a couple of people I want to recognize. We have the young men and young women of excellence in the back. If y'all can wave from some of the high schools. I also want to recognize Mayor Larry Dale, City of Sanford. I joke with people that it's because of him that I ran for office in the first place. But what a positive force for change in Sanford, and we are blessed to have had all the things he has done for us. So thank you, Mayor Dale. Exciting times in Sanford. Looking forward to hearing from some of the people who are driving that excitement. And it's going to be a good program, and we're looking forward to it. And I just thank you all for being here. And thank you to the Chamber for putting this on.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Chamber. What an awesome crowd we have today. It's amazing to see the assemblage of talent we have in this room. I see David Lawrence. Louisa Lawrence is in Columbia, or on her way back now, so it's everybody but Louisa. You can tell her I said that, David. But in all seriousness, we have some wonderful people in this room. Tricia stopped me, and how about our new Chamber Director, Tricia Fallu, phenomenal. So before we get to our speakers, I will say this. Tricia and I spoke about this, and this is a Chamber event. The city is here as guests of the Chamber to kind of update you on what's going on in the city. But one thing that Tricia and I did discuss is let's make this state of the city about business. So they're in the theme, Sanford means business. Business pays the bills, and I don't have to tell anyone in this room that. You all know this, but it's evident to this room. It's sometimes not evident to the public, but really, today you're going to hear from three of the movers and shakers in this community. But before we get to that, I did want to take time to kind of tell you a little bit about some of the folks running it from the city's perspective, just real briefly, and then we're going to get to our exciting panel. And I say panel. There won't be time for questions today until you interrupt them as they try to get to their car after this thing. These folks are very, very difficult to assemble. So while they're here, hijack them, take selfies with them, whatever it takes, just make sure you get all your questions answered. But I want to start by telling you who our fire chief is, a gentleman by the name of Ronnie McNeil. Real quick items on our fire department. We've got Fire Station 40, which will be going vertical here in the next month or so, Craig. It'll take about a year to see that to completion, but what that's going to do is serve all of the growth we're seeing on the east side of town. Not just the residential growth, but the industrial growth that we're looking to foster more of on airport site as well as in the surrounding areas. So I wish Chief McNeil was here because he's usually a clean-shaven guy. He actually took time, and some of his staff took time to help. Let's be honest, we dodged a bullet with Milton, but some of our neighbors have been hurt by hurricanes in the past. Ronnie McNeil, unshaven, comes back after living in an EOC, who knows where. So really great guy. If you have a chance to meet our fire chief, great guy. Next, I'd like to mention a relatively new gentleman to the city team, Brent Johnson, who's over here to my left, your right. He has taken over as our Director of Public Works and Utilities. Not a lot of work to do on either front, right? So he's really he's settled in, and he's actually sitting next to a gentleman who some refer to as Snarky McSnide from the Sanford Herald. And I had to tell Bill Kirchhoff, I said, Brent solved your problem of the unpaved road at Fulton Street. So Brent's a wonderful guy. He's actually overseeing what many of you heard about in the media. Some of the challenges with being a city from 1877, we've been Sanford proud, right? Well, along with that comes older pipes, older sewer systems, and things of that nature. So one of the items Brent wanted me to mention is they are in the process of getting a significant portion of our commercial base off of the vacuum system and onto sewer, which is based on gravity. Gravity is extremely cheap, right? You don't have to pay for gravity. So Brent's overseeing that. He's also overseeing the replacement of every single water meter in the city of Sanford. That's commercial and that's residential. So as I said, he's got nothing on his plate. He's the one guy, maybe we let him get back to City Hall to get back to work. Lisa Holder's here. She runs our Communications and Cultural Affairs Department. She's recently engaged, or in the process of engaging, a digital media specialist that's going to help her kind of on the social media front, productions, be able to do some things in-house that currently we just don't have the firepower to do. She's also the staff liaison for our Public Arts Commission. Anyone that gets around Sanford much has probably seen quite a bit of art popping up all over the place, sculptures, things of that nature. So that falls under Lisa's purview, but really it's 5 ladies in this community that volunteer their time to do a phenomenal job. Next, we will talk about Tony Raimondo. I get to see Tony here. Tony runs our Development Services Division, but under that falls code enforcement. So one of the items he wanted me to tell you is that all of his code enforcement officers are now certified to enforce parking violations. So Tony's not here. I hope none of you parked in the grassy area across the street because he and his staff are probably out there ticketing now. I'm kidding. But Tony runs quite a bit of the development department. We've got Eileen Hinson here on the planning side of things, but some of the numbers are just tremendous. They're projected to issue 1,800 residential permits in this cycle, 800 commercial permits. Eileen is heading up the annexation of 27 different parcels in this city. This is currently, these are folks that are either in the county now and want to come in or in the process of coming in some shape or form. She's expected to release 45 site development permits in this process. So in this process cycle, we've got a building department that is completely committed to processing permits faster. We all agree, yes, there's things that everybody at City Hall can do better, but I can assure you of this. We've got management in place from our city manager on through Tony Raimondo that is making sure that improvement continues to happen. Nikki Osborne, I did see. She's one of the most fashionably dressed we have at City Hall. But Nikki is our Director of Community Relations, and in that role, she runs all things CDBG, Community Development Block Grants, LIHEAP, which is Low Income Heating Assistance Programs, and also My Brother's Keeper, which is a very, very important program that's run here in the city of Sanford. They're serving about 80 young men right now that need mentorship and things of that nature. So that falls under Nikki's purview, and she does a great job. Cynthia Lindsay, our finance director. So Cynthia and I get along very well, as long as I create revenue sources for Cynthia. Any day that I don't, Cynthia's not my friend, but we really do work very closely together. Cynthia, as any accountant in this room, any business person in this room knows, you have to have someone watching the books. Cynthia doesn't watch the books. I was dead seriously catching her one time pouring rain. She's taking the books home with her to watch them at the house. So Cynthia is watching with a yeoman's commitment to the citizens of Sanford, and she takes her fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayer very seriously. Her department recently received a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the 34th consecutive year. It's insane. Cynthia also oversees our IT department. Yes, at City Hall, we got the internet and everything, so that falls under her as well. Cecil Smith, our police chief, is not here, but I will tell you, they recently achieved, and anyone who's been in Sanford for any number of years realizes that the history of our police department was not always what it is today. 20, 30 years ago, and Larry and Mayor Woodruff can share this with you as well. We had a very, very difficult situation in our police department. This year, the Sanford Police Department received the Excelsior status by the Commission for Florida Law Enforcement Accreditation. This is less than 5% of law enforcement agencies get this, so hats off to Chief Smith and his command staff. The only other item that Chief put on here for me to announce is traffic accidents are down by about 3% in the city this year. And I can tell you this, there's a note there that says that's because his wife does all the family driving now. So perhaps the chief was an offender bender on his way over here. But a great individual, if you have the opportunity, William, please do. Sharon Kranick, again, relatively new to Mr. Bonaparte's staff. She runs our Human Resources and Risk Management Department. I won't go into detail of what she does because, again, anyone in this room that's a business person or an employee knows about HR. So Sharon Cranick, welcome aboard, and thank you for all that you do. There's another kind of a shorter tenure director we have here. Her name is Lisa something. I always forget her last name. She's relatively new to the city of Sanford. But Lisa, stand up, please. Lisa is the director of leisure services in this city and does everything phenomenal. She is a star. When I first got to this city, she and a guy named Jim Schaefer suckered me into coaching baseball here in the city of Sanford. I didn't have any kids. Well, they didn't have any coaches, so it wasn't that hard of a job to get back then, but it's really neat. I think Lisa was 18 back then. She's 22 now, so it's been a great 4-year run of friendship. But she's got the Golden Age Games coming up. She's got park facilities under her command. This building here is under her purview. She's got a wonderful staff and really just a great person. Stop her, talk to her about all the things they've got planned for the holiday season. It's going to be a pretty cool year here in Sanford. So with that, I would like to bring up, back to our Sanford Means Business, a lady here in this room by the name of Nicole Marks used to run Seminole County and did it very, very ably. I saw some Sanford Airport Authority board members in this room earlier. I'm not going to say stole her from Seminole County, but let's just say they are borrowing her to their benefit from Seminole County. Yeah, there's Frank Iapolo. If you don't know anything, just ask Frank. He knows everything. Is that correct, Frank? Is that an accurate statement? But I would like to introduce the President and Chief Executive Officer of your Orlando Sanford International Airport, Ms. Nicole Marks.
Thank you, Brady. Thank you, Frank. And I am not borrowed. I am a permanent fixer, I hope. Hello, everybody. Susie. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to thank the Chamber for including us in this special day and for recognizing us as part of the economic fabric of this community. It's a real honor for that acknowledgement, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to tell our story. Always love to talk about the airport. Sorry, I need some sorry, everybody. Enjoy your delicious smell. Lovely. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. I run an airport and I can't operate quickly. I don't know. This is a good sign. So, as I said, I'm always grateful for the opportunity to tell our story, and our story is a story about Hometown Airport. There are 19 commercial service airports in the state of Florida, and you have one of them in your backyard. And when I say in your backyard, it's in your backyard. 12 minutes away, I timed it on my way here today, that is accurate. 12 minutes away, you have a full-service commercial airport. And it's really very special, and I'm going to tell you today why that's so special. But first, I want to know how many people here have flown out of our airport? Good deal. You got a little bit of work to do, but we'll get the rest of you here because we don't know what you're missing. We've been a part of the community for a long time. The airport opened in the early part of the 20th century. It was operated as a public airport by the city of Sanford. But one of the things we're most proud about of our history in the community is our military history. In 1942, the city of Sanford deeded the airport to the Navy so they could establish Naval Air Station Sanford. And during World War II, 50% of the Navy's carrier bomber and fighter pilots were trained at Naval Air Station Sanford. So we had a very significant contribution to our national security, and it's something we're very proud of. In its heyday, the base was home to 300 officers, about 1,400 enlisted men, and 150 waves. So it's been a center of activity for a very long time. After World War II, it was briefly decommissioned and recommissioned during the Korean and Vietnam War eras for more training, and then finally decommissioned for good in 1968. And as I said, we're very proud of this, and you'll see that pride if you come out to the airport. Those of you who have been in the terminal since we did the renovation may have noticed there's a giant plane
in the ticketing hall. I think it's the largest, or should correct me on this, the largest ticketing, the largest plane inside a terminal anywhere in the world. So we're proud of that. It's a PB-1, and it represents the first military jet that they used for training at the air station. As you come into our airport, you'll notice there's a vigilante jet at the entrance. That's a real jet. It represents the last model of jet that they trained on at the airport. So we are reminded every day of our military history. We're very proud of it, and we love the opportunity to honor that part of our history and our service to the nation. So I mentioned it was decommissioned. The air station was decommissioned in 1968. In 1971, the Florida legislature established the Sanford Airport Authority, which is the entity that I work for, and established it as an entity to run and operate what is now known as the Orlando Sanford International Airport. It has very broad powers similar to a small city. We have very similar powers to that of the cities in the state of Florida. And also gave us authority here to operate an airport anywhere in the state of Florida, not just on our property. But so maybe there's some opportunity here. But so in 71 it was established, and I'll talk a little bit more about the Airport Authority in a couple of slides. So over the next couple of decades, the airport, it grew and expanded to provide more opportunities for aviation service. In the 80s, it again became a center for training, but this was for private pilot training, commercial pilot training. But we still have Alfred Harris Flight Academy and several other training facilities out at the airport. So we love to be able to honor that history of being a naval training center. And then in 1995, the International Terminal was built, Terminal A, and it was built to accommodate charter flights from the United Kingdom. Those charter flights operated out of our airport for about 25 years and literally brought millions of international travelers to Central Florida. In 1999, our first commercial service for domestic travel started, and some people are surprised. I was surprised to learn that we were an international airport before we were a domestic service airport. In 2001, Terminal B was built, the domestic service terminal, which is now, it is now the West Terminal, changing the name. But if any of you have flown Allegiant, you've probably flown out of the B Terminal. We use both of them, but the B Terminal is used most frequently, so you've probably all been in there. And then in 2005, Luncheon started service at our airport and has almost continuously since that time been growing and been a real resource from a travel standpoint for our community. We love them. They're a great partner. We are their largest base. We are bigger than their headquarters base in Las Vegas. And I'll talk a little bit more about the things that they offer a little deeper into the presentation. And then in 2021, we finalized a renovation to the terminal, $74 million renovation to the terminal, added 4 more gates, improved the ticketing hall, added more baggage carousels and other technology, made some improvements in passenger flow on the curb, and set us up for some real opportunities for growth in the future. We can accommodate about twice as much traffic as we have now, so we're really well situated from a terminal standpoint for growth and additional service to the community. So this is what we look like today. We have a 2,500-acre campus, a 4-runway system, which is very unusual for a small hub airport. Our primary runway, which is to the very north, that runs along 46th, is 11,000 feet long, which may not mean anything to you, but it is significant in that you can land just about any commercial aircraft out there. We were even a backup landing site for the space shuttle. So we are well situated in the terminal with our expansion. We're well situated in our airfield for continued growth and opportunities, as I said, to serve the community in a much more significant way as we move forward. So this is a community-run airport. I mentioned the Sanford Airport Authority. It was established by the legislature in 1971. It is a political subdivision of the state. It is a dependent special district of the city of Sanford. So we are intricately intertwined with the city, which is a wonderful thing to be, because the city has been an amazing partner and supporter. We're so intertwined that it is the city that appoints the airport board members. There are 9 board members. You may recognize some of them. We have a couple of them with us today. Wave over here, Benny and Frank. You're not even listening to me. Wait, Betty, thank you. So we have a couple of board members here. Mayor Woodruff and Chairman Jay Zendauer also sit on the board as liaisons and provide great input. But it is due to the great appointments that the city of Sanford has made to our board and the other support that they provide to us that we've been able to be successful. And so I just want to publicly thank the mayor. I saw Commissioner Britton, and I saw Carrie back there. So thank you all. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. I didn't see Patty, but anyway, thank you all because it is an amazing partnership, and it's what makes us your hometown airport. So we are a public resource. We're a public agency. We're a public resource, and we're more than just an airport in our mind. We have a dual purpose. We are a transportation hub, which is very obvious. But we are also a center of business and commerce, and we contribute to the community in both ways. As a transportation hub, we've served almost 3 million passengers last year. We have 2 airports in Central Florida, which is amazing because I know there's only 19 commercial service airports in the entire state. But we offer 2 very different experiences and opportunities for travelers. Our airport, we did a study, the average passenger at our airport spends 78 minutes in the airport from the time they get out of their car until they get on the plane. The other airport, you might spend that much time looking for parking. So I'm just saying, we love to provide you a simpler, faster, better experience. If you haven't flown out of our airport, I would encourage you, you will not want to go back to a bigger airport. Of the 3 million passengers we had last year, about 65 to 70% of them are people coming to Central Florida to visit. They're coming in, they're bringing money into the community, they're spending money here, they're getting to experience Central Florida. The other 30 to 35% originate from here. So about a third of our passengers are local. We are a great travel resource for Central Florida and for Sanford. And we never forget that. We're not just about people coming to visit us. So one of the reasons that we're such a great resource is Allegiant. Allegiant has around 70 nonstop, every one of their flights is nonstop destinations. You can get to a lot of places from our airport. You can get to places that you can't get to if you fly out of a big airport. These are also hometown airports. I flew into Greenville last month. Next month I'm going to Hagerstown, Maryland. I don't have to go to Dulles or Baltimore. Thanksgiving holiday, I'm going to be flying out of a great small airport and I'm flying into a great small airport. It really changes your travel experience. Allegiant is continually offering new routes. So if you don't think you can get there from here, I would advise you to check because you probably can. This is just a visual of our terminal expansion. I mentioned we added more gates, and so if you haven't been to see us lately, come on out and visit. Even if you're not flying out, I love to show the place off. Just give me a call, and I'll give you a tour. So some of you may be thinking, well, I don't travel, and if that's okay, shame on you. But if you don't travel, why should I care that I have an airport in my backyard? I don't use it. It's not for me. Well, you should care because airports are economic engines. And they support the economic ecosystem in a variety of ways. One of them is their job creators. The state of Florida does a study every year on all of the airports in the state of Florida. They do an economic analysis. The last one they did was 22, so we were still pulling out of the pandemic. But based on that study, the Orlando Sanford International Airport is responsible for creating 6,500 jobs on campus. That's jobs at the airport, that's jobs for our tenants. We have a number of commercial tenants at our airport, and those are also construction-related jobs. And I'll talk to you about how we impact jobs from a construction standpoint in a little bit. But that amounts to over $400 million a year payroll. And as airports grow, the jobs grow. For every 100,000 passengers we add from a capacity standpoint, we add 100 jobs just at the airport. That doesn't even consider the spillover jobs that are generated. So as your airport grows, your economic base grows in the community. The other way that we contribute, other than creating jobs, is we create revenue. The airport itself generates a lot of revenue, but for every $100 of revenue that we generate at the airport, there is another $150 generated in the local community. Our annual income is about $36 million a year, which means there is an additional $50 million coming into the local economy just based on the airport's operations. Never mind the tenants and everybody else that operates out there. Infrastructure. So infrastructure is a huge part of our airport. We talk about it every day, and there's a lot of infrastructure development that is involved in running an airport. For every $1 million that an airport spends on construction of infrastructure, that generates $1.5 million of regional GDP. So our average, it ebbs and flows, but our average spend on infrastructure every year is almost $23 million a year, which amounts to about $34 million of regional GDP. So we're not talking peanuts here, folks. I'm getting this speeded up. I can talk all day to you guys. Community development. Infrastructure development that comes with airports also supports the community. We've been able to bring about $7 million of state and federal grant money to the community to do stormwater and water and sewer projects that will benefit not just the airport, but the community as well. And then I have the 417 on there, which I'll talk to you a little bit about later. In addition to the economic benefits, we have a social and cultural impact on the community. We have two large events that we sponsor every year that we think of as gifts to the community. One is the air show. The air show is an amazing event. I'm sure many of you in this room have experienced it. It is an event that the airport makes no money on it. In fact, it costs us money. But we think of it as a gift to the community because it's a real opportunity for folks to experience the airport and to get some really wonderful family entertainment. Just the looks on people's faces when they come on in and those fire jets come in, it's just pretty amazing. I get excited every year. Our next year show will be next October, so a year from now. We've had to jostle it around a little bit to meet the military jet schedules. The other event that we do every year is Aviation Day. It is an event for the kids in the community, and we do it in partnership with Seminole County Public Schools and Seminole State College. And it's to give kids from the littlest ones to the biggest ones exposure to the aviation industry and opportunities for careers in aviation. Last year we had over 5,600 people attend. It is an amazing one-day event. I think we would have more people attend. We just don't have the capacity, but it really is wonderful to meet kids. I would encourage you. It's in January of every year to keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes out and look out for it because it's a great opportunity. In addition to the events that we do at the airport, we also support a number of community organizations. We're Hometown Airport. We believe in this community and we believe in giving back to the community. So these are just some of the organizations we've supported over the last year. So lots of impact, and I gave you kind of little bits and pieces. The state estimates that our overall impact to the regional economy is about $3.5 billion a year. That's billion with a B. So it's meaningful. It's important to all of you as business people that money is coming into the community. But it's just the beginning. There's so much additional opportunity at the airport. What this slide shows you is our campus and the opportunities for development. We have a lot of business out there already. There's opportunities for more. We have over 500 acres of greenfield property available, which is significant in a county that doesn't have a lot of greenfield property available for development. So there's some real opportunities for economic development there. We have a 270-acre commerce park. It is basically the old base property. A lot of old base buildings as well. So there's some real opportunity for redevelopment out there. It is completely leased. We turn people away every week that are looking for space out there. So some great opportunities there. We have an 1,800-acre foreign trade zone, which is very attractive to folks who might need to sell or buy goods that go overseas. We're centrally located. I-95, 45 minutes, I-4, 30 minutes, which I'll talk a little bit about the 417. We also have a rail line that's directly adjacent to the airport. We're the only airport in the state of Florida that has a cargo-only rail line directly adjacent to it. So there's some great opportunity for economic development out there, and we're working on that every day and are starting to see the fruits of that labor. The other opportunity at the airport relates to our terminal operations. Historically, the airport, the terminal and the parking facilities were managed by a third-party management company. And that was a great situation as the airport was growing, and it worked well for a while, but we've matured to the level where we realized that it would be a benefit to the airport that the people who love the airport, who care about the airport, are the ones that are the caretakers of the airport. And so to ensure that the appropriate investment was being made in the airport infrastructure, the terminal and the parking infrastructure, and to ensure that we have a facility that's really beneficial to the travelers. The airport board decided last fall to terminate the contract with the third-party management company and bring all of those operations in-house. Which meant in a period of about 5 months, we onboarded almost 200 additional employees and took over half of the operations of the airport that we hadn't had previously as the airport authority. The real benefit of this move is all of the revenues that are generated at the airport will now stay on the airport property and they won't be diverted to a foreign management company. So it's going to be a really beneficial situation for the airport and again, create some great opportunity. So things to watch for. Talked about infrastructure and how important it is. And for every $1 million of infrastructure, every $1 million that we invest in infrastructure, there's a 1.5 million of regional GDP. I'm praying. We have $55 million of active airfield projects right now. These are all projects that are in the works at some phase, actively being worked at the airport, which amounts to, that ratio, about $80 million of regional GDP. Terminal, also, we've got almost $17 million of improvements going on in the terminal. As you fly in and out of our airport, you'll be able to see how we're improving capacity for passengers and creating a better experience for folks that travel through our airport. One of the things we're most excited about in the terminal is our refresh of our terminal concessions. We have food and beverage concessions and we have retail concessions. And so we are in the midst of finishing up a $4 million food and beverage concession refresh, and you will see, I don't know if you can read it, but that green awning, holler box. There will be a holler box in the airport. We are so excited about bringing Sanford into the airport. I'll have to tell Christina that got the biggest applause of anything today. When we finish up the food and beverage concession refresh, we're going to start on a retail concession refresh. Our partners on that are Hudson. You'll see them in airports everywhere. Their plan is to refresh every outlet there with a Sanford theme. So you'll see reflections of Fort Mellon Park, the riverboat, you'll see the clock tower there, but every single retail outlet will reflect Sanford in some way. So we're very excited about bringing Sanford into the terminal, and the minute people get off the plane, they're going to get a taste of Sanford at our airport. So we're real pleased and excited about that. I won't belabor this because we talked a lot about development opportunities, but we don't work in a vacuum. I just want you to know we work with the Florida Department of Commerce and also the Orlando Economic Partnership, which is the economic development agency for the region. We're working with them on 7 strategic projects. These are really meaningful, high-job, high-wage creating projects. And we're working on bringing one or more of those projects to the airport. Our partners in that are the City of Sanford and Seminole County. It takes a village to bring some of these really meaningful projects to fruition, and so I think Pam and her team and Brady and everybody else has been helping with that, and then the folks at Seminole County as well. They're great partners. And then the 417, I have to mention the 417, that people kind of laugh sometimes that as an airport CEO, my priority transportation project is a road. But it is a really important project for us. It will provide a direct connection from the 417 into the airport. It will also provide much needed relief to the traffic on Lake Murray Boulevard. There are about 4,000, Lauren, correct me on this, 4,000 homes in the pipeline right now. Homes that have been approved along East Lake Murray Boulevard. The traffic is only, and then not to mention the industrial and commercial pieces that are under construction there as well. A lot of traffic on East Lake Murray Boulevard. This project would relieve that and also provide greater access to the airport. So it really provides 2 benefits to the community. The Central Florida Expressway Authority is running point on this project. They approved the feasibility feasibility study earlier this year. And the PE study is expected to be completed at the end of this year, December, maybe January next year. 4 alternatives right now. They'll narrow it down to 1. This is also a project that is included on the roster for the 1% sales tax that's on the ballot next week. And then finally, everybody asks about air service development. We are always doing air service development. Everybody, when are we going to get a flight to someplace wherever their family is? We work on that every day. We have a 4-pronged approach, but I will tell you, it is a struggle right now. Airlines can't get jets. There's a little something going on at Boeing right now, and so airlines can't get jets. They can't get jets, they can't expand service. But our approach is to grow Allegiant, to work with legacy carriers, to get in the hook, I see to work with other low-cost carriers like Frontier or Avello, and then international. We started as an international airport. We're really trying to get back to that opportunity as well. And with that, I will stop before he physically removes me.
Thank you so much, Nicole. And I will tell you, between Nicole Martz and Norton Bonaparte, they have their staffs committed to working. We are chasing some very, very large opportunities. So kudos to both of our leaders on that front. The next individual that we would like to introduce is, you will be able to immediately tell he's from Brooklyn, New York. Wait till you hear this guy's accent. I'm joking. This gentleman is from the great state of Louisiana. He is the Chief Executive Officer of HCA Lake Monroe. Not only does this gentleman know his industry, it's remarkable. I met with him a couple times. He's got a war room where he's got a giant map. He just doesn't know his industry. He knows this community. For being here such a short period of time, phenomenal employer, phenomenal contributor to our downtown. With that, from the great state of Louisiana, Mr. John Gerholm from HCA Lake Monroe.
Good afternoon, everybody. How you guys doing? I want to start off by thanking Brady, the Chamber, as well as the city for hosting today's event. I'd also like to thank my team back in Table 11. You guys want to stand for a second? This is some of our key leaders. So today I have the honor and pleasure to share a lot of work that this team back is doing for us. So I want to start off by talking about HCA as a whole, and then I'm going to come back to Lake Monroe and tell you some of the things that we're doing in the hospital now, plus what we have to come. So HCA Healthcare, for those of you guys who are not aware, is the largest healthcare company, non-government healthcare company in the world. Not only in the United States, but the entire world. So we have 184 hospitals. We're in 22 different states. All these little different dots represent all the different hospitals that we have. What's important to know about the HCA healthcare system is because we have so many hospitals, we see healthcare from a geography standpoint is vastly different depending on what state you go into, whether it's rural or whether it's urban type areas. And you're going to see how we can apply some of that learned knowledge locally here in Sanford. Here in the Orlando market, if you were here 10 years ago, HCA Healthcare had 2 hospitals. We had Lake Monroe, which has been here for over 40 years, as well as Osceola, which is the South Orlando market. Since then, we've added 3 other hospitals. Most closely to us is Oviedo. We have Ponciana and Lake Nona as well, once a new hospital is built. And so our access points for care are expanded. We also add freestanding emergency rooms. One of the challenges in the healthcare industry is there's not enough primary care doctors. And so one way to solve that is you have to add emergency rooms access for care. So it's a growing area for us. The key to any of our hospitals is our people. One thing we do is we spend a lot of time investing in our people. Employers may say that. We do a lot of activities with our employees. One thing we also invest in our employees, we invest in our employees asking them to be the best. And so because we have so many hospitals, we have so much access to information, we can actually peel back from a clinical standpoint, a process standpoint, and have applied knowledge and get better. I was sharing a story with the gentleman at the table that's with me now, is when I look back a year ago, our hospital from a performance standpoint had opportunities, right? But when I look at it now, we rank amongst number 1 and number 2 of the 15 hospitals in our division. So that's a hats off for the team back home. Community involvement, for those who know me, I'm big into community involvement. One thing that's different with our hospital is the expectation is our leaders get involved in the community. We've done over 20 community events. If you guys, from a business standpoint, if you guys want us to be involved, we will volunteer our leaders at your visit. Just reach out to me and let me know. And so you can see what we have planned for the second half of the year. We also have some of our leaders getting advanced training in the Sanford Citizens Academy, and our commitment is to have somebody there with that, because I think it's an awesome opportunity for people to be involved in. We do an employee newsletter that comes out once a month, and these activities are shared with our frontline staff, and we encourage them to get involved in the community, because I think that's how our community grows, and that's how you just be personally self-rewarded. This year, we appreciate being awarded the Industry of the Year in Best Medical Facilities. I will tell you guys, this honor that we received, you need to know how much it resonated with the local team at the hospital, from the employees to our physicians. And that's a big deal, so we appreciate the recognition this year for that award. So healthcare, there's a lot of information out there, a lot of data. I'm going to get a little clinical on you in a second, but I'm keeping it high level since I understand some of you may not understand. But here's what I would tell you. There's over 4,500 hospitals across the United States. Of the 4,500 hospitals, all hospitals, if you bill for Medicare, which almost all hospitals do, you're required to take key clinical outcome data, right? Are patients catching infections? Are patients going home and bouncing back from a readmission? There's a whole bunch of data points. All these data points get sent up to a company called Health Grades. And Health grades annually all hospitals in the United States. You'd be proud to know here in your backyard, guys, Lake Monroe is a top 100 hospital. We're top 2% nationally in outcomes. And you can see some of the awards we got. So this is a big deal for us, and I'm going to show you why in just a second. Some of the investments we have in the future is we recognize, as I said earlier, there's not enough physicians to serve the community, and that's why oftentimes healthcare services are backed up. I can tell you, if you come to Lake Monroe Hospital, if you come to our emergency room, you'll be seen by a doctor within 6 minutes. And I didn't stutter in 6 minutes. It's really fast, okay? You're going to see a sign that's going to go up on County Road 46 in the next couple of weeks. It'll show you the actual wait time so you know what the expectation is. That's the transparency. But from a GME program, which is graduate education, because of the advanced care that we have, and I'm going to show you key details in a minute, we're training the next generation of doctors, okay? And this is an accreditation body that's nationally accredited that only is allowed at hospitals that provide the very best possible care. So this is a big deal. So we started our internal medicine program this year. As we look into the following year, we're going to start a transitional year as well as PM&R. And what those are other types of programs in the healthcare industry so we can satisfy the demand that's out there. Robotic surgery. I get asked this question a lot. Here you guys are doing robotic surgery. What does that mean? Does that mean robots are doing surgery on you? No, robots aren't doing surgery on you. But here's what I would tell you guys. We have over $6 million in various robots invested at the hospital. That is not normal, first of all. Most hospitals actually do not even use robots to help because they can't afford it. We have, from whether it's orthopedic surgery, whether it's maybe you have your appendix or your gallbladder needs to be removed, or you have complex spine surgery. We have robots that assist the physicians with that. And imagine mechanically, if you pull back, sitting in front of this robot, it makes the small cuts for you. So it allows us to have the technology and capability. If you have your hip or your knee replaced, as an example, you have your surgery today, you go home the next day. Before the robotic technology, you're in a hospital for 5 days. And it's just not good medicine. We have that technology here in the backyard. One thing we also put in place too is a patient portal. So we want our patients to be involved in their care. What does that mean? So anytime you come as a patient into our hospital, whether it's through the emergency room or maybe you come in for elective surgery, or whatever your method of getting into the healthcare system with HCA, is we're going to subscribe you to a program called My Health One. So imagine if you had the same ability to look on your phone and saw what your test results were. What would you do with that information, right? We don't hide it. So as soon as it posts in our computer system for our doctors and nurses to see it, you will see it as well. And what we're finding is our patients are asking the physicians better questions because they see the health record in advance and they say, this number doesn't look right. What does that mean? And so they're better informed with this. And so this is something incidentally, whether you come to Lake Monroe or you go to any of those Orlando hospitals or you go to any hospital in the United States through HCA, your health record will follow. So we don't have to repeat tests to figure out and problem solve what's going on. From a geography standpoint, similar to the airport, to show you how big the deal Lake Monroe is to our community, most people don't realize, but when you think of life and death, that's the way I think of things. When you think of life and death situations, a trauma alert, having a stroke, or having a massive heart attack, those are imminent life and death situations. Lake Monroe Hospital offers all three of those services, and you can see this bubble that I created for you. So just think of basically in a 60-mile radius. If you have that complication, EMS or air service is going to bring you to Lake Monroe Hospital. So we're a big deal from that standpoint. And you can see relative to our competitors how far you have to travel if you need those services. So I wanted to talk a little bit about those services, and I'll make it brief because I certainly understand clinically this may be too much. But here's what I would tell you. What's different this year for 2024 is we are not only a comprehensive stroke center, we received our national accreditation, but we also received our international accreditation, which means we're amongst the very best in the world from a stroke standpoint. This is an example that of a local fireman who had a massive stroke. He shouldn't be here today, and yet he came to Lake Monroe, and he, within 2 hours of arriving, he was talking again, and he has no deficits. And that's somebody that's in our local fire department. We have technology, that pretty picture there, you're trying to figure out what all those colors mean. Well, here's what I'll tell you. The blue, that means your brain is perfusing right. It means blood's going through your brain correctly. The colors means you have a stroke. That's what that means. And so we have technology where we can do a basic CT scan at any of our access points. That CT scan then goes to the physician's phone, and using AI technology, they can determine that you need to be going to surgery right away. And so we have these micro catheters that can go inside the brain and remove the stroke and let you walk home and go back to your family. We also have a level 2 trauma center. This has been in place for a number of years now, but I think what's important this year is our quality of care, our outcomes have been so drastically improved that we have received our national accreditation. And this is an award only given to the very best hospitals from the American College of Surgeons. So this is a really big accomplishment for our hospital. I put some data here, whether you have a fractured hip or you have shock mortality. Those are things that are life and death in a hospital. Somebody asked me at the table earlier, if you broke your hip, he was from Canada, he's telling me it takes, 3 months? 3 months? How about we get your hip fixed within 12 hours? How's that? Is that even possible? That happens at Lake Monroe. And oh, by the way, we can do it robotically if necessary. We also have complex heart services. So complex heart services was one of the original foundations of why Lake Monroe is here today. And I'll tell you, from a heart standpoint, the days of having to crack somebody's chest open, you don't see that as much anymore. Does it happen? Sure, it happens, right? But the reality is, mechanically, you can do minimally invasive surgery and you can replace valves. We do this here at Lake Monroe. We're also putting pacemakers in with no wires. So think about changing batteries out. Think of all these other delays that some of you friends may have had cardiac related. We do the very best in technology at Lake Monroe. And on the back end, if you have that complex surgery, we have the care team in place to take care of you, which is a big deal. We have one of the best cardiac programs, by the way, out there. As I showed you earlier, we're top 2% outcomes. So if you have that problem, hope you don't, you know this is the hospital to go. I just had a story, just not to belabor this too much. Just 2 weeks ago, I met a husband and a wife who actually live near the airport. And they live in an area that the communication is challenged. The reception is bad. They called 911. They're lay people, so no medical background. And the wife was doing CPR on the husband. They immediately brought him to Lake Monroe. He had a massive heart attack. He had what they call a widowmaker, which is a blood vessel that it's imminent death. Less than 5% chance of survival, by the way. Within 2 weeks of arriving to the hospital, he left to go home with his family. And I will tell you what's cool about the story, besides saving a life, that's certainly the most important thing, was the fact that she was bragging and she was excited how she subscribed to this My Health One technology I showed you earlier. And she had family members in other states, Pennsylvania, New York City, Chicago, the 3 cities she named. And they were able to follow the healthcare, they had healthcare background, and gave her a peace of mind that he was being taken care of. And then finally, with those service lines, you're not going to be a complete program unless you have an inpatient rehab program. So our goal is not to get you to a nursing home. Our goal is not to get you an LTAC. Our goal is to get you back home. And so we're proud of our inpatient rehab program, and that's exactly what they do. They get you moving. We have a celebration bell for those who are going home. But you need to know that we're a top program nationally throughout the United States. And with that, thank you guys for your support, and I'll say
Thank you so much, John. I would tell you, he could go on for hours and have a gentleman in your community with that kind of passion for, and you heard him, well, saving lives, so that was pretty good too. But the real thing was, to have a side note. So I really want to, I know we got to pick up some time here. Don't forget, there's a drawing. There's 2 drawings that Tricia and Amanda and Mr. Bonaparte's also going to say a few words. But before we get there, and I do not want to take any more time. First of all, John, if you've got a Canadian at your table, make sure you've still got your wallet. They are known for pickpocketing. But the next individual that I would like to introduce is that Canadian. One of the biggest challenges here in Sanford, Seminole County really, is our Seminole Town Center Mall. This is 1.1 million square feet of underutilized retail. It's quite frankly been an underperforming asset for 10 years. So one of the challenges that Mr. Bonaparte, the mayor, and the commission posed to me was, hey, can we get new ownership in there? Can we get new investment in there? So I took that charge very seriously. I will say this, we've kissed many toads to get to our prince, and I hate to call this next gentleman a prince, but this is a very, very complex deal. To put it in perspective, I saw David Johnson and his awesome cohort, Kimberly Walker, in here. So to put this in perspective, depending on the boundaries that you use out at that mall, we're on the tax rolls assessed at about $40 to $50 million. Again, depending on what lines you draw. Our goal, and this gentleman's going to help me get there. So $40 or $50 million tax assessment right now. Within 36 to 48 months, we're looking to have a $500 million valuation out there. Now, David Johnson's office, awesome. We'll discount that about 80%, which is wonderful. But you were talking about, and I say this with all sincerity, you were talking about the largest redevelopment in Seminole County history. That's adjusted for inflation, and inflation's actually a beast right now, so maybe I'll caveat that, but you're talking about the largest redevelopment in Seminole County history. Here's what's beautiful. This is land that's already paved. Whether you're an environmentalist or you're a radical right developer, whatever your position on that spectrum is, this is good development. This is going to make the north end of our region so much more of a target. I will tell you, it's not been easy to get here, but we have a local partner with I'll tell you, Mayor, you'll find this interesting. So the city of Sanford was founded in 1877, right? The company I'm about to introduce is the only thing in this room older than Sanford. The Gilbane Company was founded in 1870, but they have adroitly adapted for all of these years, over 150 years. The most recent meeting we had, and I won't disclose everything that occurred at the meeting, but was on Monday. I took the bright line down. This was a very high level, very high energy meeting. I will say there were some elevated voices early in the morning. Elevated voices meaning some would say yelling. So we broke for lunch. The gentleman is coming up said, maybe we should break for lunch. Well, meanwhile, one of the attorneys, a lady that was maybe 100 pounds soaking wet, had told me before the meeting started, she said, I'm experimenting with intermittent fasting. I'm not eating till 8 p.m. tonight. So we break for lunch because this meeting, right, Justin, is completely falling apart. She comes running by. I'm going for a cheeseburger. It's 11 in the morning. So I will tell you the level of communication and sophistication and complexities that are involved in this next gentleman's task are very large. But with that, I would like to introduce Justin Kopasik with the Gilbane Company.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. We'll skip past this one. First off, I'd just like to say thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting such an exceptional event. Kudos to you, Tricia. I mean, obviously, the turnout's fantastic. If she's as diligent about getting my slides in for this presentation as she is about bringing new business in, the sky's the limit for the city of Sanford, I can assure you. We're here really to talk about, and a little bit about the Seminole Town Center Mall, but first, also, this wouldn't be possible without truly kind of the partnership with the city, not just the chamber, but, starting with the mayor, thank you very much, the city commission, city manager's office, and Brady at the economic development department. Without your partnership and collaboration, none of this would even be possible, frankly. And that's really led to, I think the city has been a leader and what we've redefined as like the new P3, and that's really planning, partnership, and prosperity. And we'll touch on a few examples of that later on. But first, a little bit more about our firm. My name is Justin Kopasik. I'm the Vice President of Development for Gilbane Development Company. Most of you are probably familiar with our sister company, Gilbane Building Company. We are the real estate investment development and property management arm of Gilbane Inc. We primarily focus on a few verticals. We affordable housing, P3, student housing, and market rate. I work with the market rate team. That's a little misleading. We are the opportunistic investment arm, so we touch multiple asset classes, which is helpful when you're dealing with the Seminole Town Center Mall. And some obviously key statistics on our size and scale. Our sister company, Gilbane Building Company, is actually led by a born and bred Sanford resident, Shane Birdsett, who's our business unit leader for Central Florida, also a graduate of Seminole High School. Again, founded in 1870, 154-year-old company, over 3,000 employees across the country and the world in 45 plus offices. A couple of representative projects, the original arena in downtown Orlando, as well as Toronto Blue Jays spring training facility, and a number of notable projects, not only in the United States, but across the world. So our investment in Florida is deep, and our commitment to the state and the city of Sanford will continue. All that's important because at the end of the day, when you're faced with a challenge like the Seminole Town Center Mall, there's a few examples here of similar projects of similar scale, former challenge sites, whether they're brownfield, challenging ownership structures. These projects present an opportunity to be a catalyst for growth, not only for those individual sites, but to attract more investment in the city and to take light in neighborhoods and really create that energy and momentum that a lot of times these locations need. Some other representative projects here, as you can see, kind of the size and scale and complexity. But I think it's to showcase that these are not your traditional 2 to 3 year merchant builds, right? These are long-term business plans that take 7 to 10 years to execute. And I think that level of commitment and just that initial phase will resonate as we look to really invest for the future. So the question is, why invest in the city of Sanford? Why jump into a challenge like this? Sometimes I ask myself that question every day, as Brady alluded to after Monday's meeting. Many of you may not know, but obviously the strength, looking at the real estate fundamentals in the city of Sanford, we have historically low vacancy rates in retail. It wasn't that long ago that retail was oversupplied across the country, specifically here in this primary market. Continued demand for multifamily and single-family homes across our city. And we've reached essentially market equilibrium in industrial with strong occupancy, low vacancy, and limited new supply due to current macro factors. An international airport that presents limitless opportunities and is totally unique for our great city. We have great schools and excellent quality of living, phenomenal healthcare facilities at our disposal. And I think I can't underscore this enough, but a very forward-thinking economic development strategy and approach, which has really been the catalyst for our involvement in this project. And then I think lastly, which is an interesting point, the transition from mostly greenfield development to infill development. I think that shows the maturity of our market, the maturity of our city, and the strength of our city, that it's going through this resurgence as we're redeveloping former, projects like the mall that really aren't that old at the end of the day, but are being reimagined. As the gateway city, as we've been historically known, I think Sanford is now a city with multiple gateways. You can see it out 46 as you head out through Midway towards the airport, all the expansion and development throughout. Unfortunately, the first impression that most guests coming to our city see is coming off I-4 is the Seminole Town Center Mall, right? And it's unfair. It's not an accurate representation of the quality of our city and what we have to offer. And it's a byproduct of years of fragmented ownership, poor capital structures, poor management that have led us down this path. And what many of you don't know, these malls are governed by very complex REAs that provide endless roadblocks, and I can't underscore that enough, endless roadblocks to redevelopment that have really had a chilling effect on a lot of other development groups that are, are very well qualified. They could have, started to turn things around piece by piece. But at the end of the day, what it's led us to is that the only solution for the mall was a comprehensive redevelopment. We had originally pursued the site to bring, like many folks, market rate apartments to the site, but very quickly what we realized that investing $100 million in the one side of the mall wasn't going to get the job done, that we needed to tackle the entire redevelopment. And frankly, our firm, being vertically integrated with the sophistication of Shane's business unit, allows us to tackle the most complex real estate problems that exist and to really unlock a tremendous amount of value, not only for the project, but also for the community as we bring in the best retailers, more multi, more housing, more healthcare, more medical office. And it really will serve as a catalyst. This site is unique in the fact that it sits at the intersection of 3 major highways. You're only a 30 minutes drive from every major employment area within the MSA, and it sits right at our front door. Frankly, to unlock this project, the only solution is through vertical integration. I show this slide because there's one large circle that's missing from that, and it really should be the city of Sanford. But for their participation and collaboration. Frankly, I don't know that anybody would be able to tackle a project of this scale. Brady is not underestimating it. The total investment will end up being north of $500 million by the time the entire business plan is executed. Which is significant for the city and from a housing perspective and from a retail perspective. Everyone's here, big problems require big solutions, so I think big problems really require collaborative solutions. And this is a kudos to the city of Sanford that, at the end of the day, they were very forward thinking when rezoning this to a PD. And I know it was probably tough sledding with the current ownership, but that allowed the flexibility and also showed the discipline on the city's standpoint to really curate and allow for the right mix of uses and to not be short-sighted just to allow other uses that may be more designed, industrial, whatever it may be. Really this site is special, and it's so special that we don't take it lightly how important it is to program this correctly. So we intend to be very thoughtful and really align with the city's vision of being thoughtful about what we ultimately deploy on this site. Economic development, Brady, round of applause for you, honestly. I mean, kudos to you. When he talks about the Monday's meeting, that is one of many, knockdown dragouts that we've had as we've been working through a very challenging situation, but they've remained steadfast and a phenomenal partner as we continue to work through our redevelopment efforts. At the end of the day, just being pro-business and having an open door policy and being willing to bring all the stakeholders together to really find creative solutions to a lot of these challenges. And then lastly, when you're working on a very complex, multifaceted redevelopment like this, the complexity in plan review and development services is enormous. You already heard how busy the city is, and Eileen's got her work cut out for her every single day. This will match or eclipse the workload that's on there. So, the willingness for the city to be entrepreneurial, creative, and helping find creative solutions to expedite that process. Because at the end of the day, we're excited about bringing this project to market. We're excited to showcase what's to come. And we wouldn't be able to do that without, taking a lot of that regulatory risk off the table. We're willing to take on the 7 to 10 year market risk. And with projects like this, at the end of the day, it's like an IPO 5 years from now. You never really know what the market fundamentals are going to be. But at the end of the day, if you have the right capital structure, you have the right management team, and you have the right partner from a municipal perspective, like the city of Sanford, it makes those writs much more palatable. So very excited to showcase in the next few months what is going to come for the Seminole Town Center Mall. And really at the end of the day, thank you to Brady, thank you to the city, and thank you all for being here. We look forward to showcasing what we have to offer the next few weeks and months. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Justin. And I will tell you, it's not all miserable, right? This is a true story. Justin will tell you, after our meeting yesterday, when everybody was happy, I ate great food. I think somebody ate the hamburger. One guy was screaming at one of the attorneys that he made the best lemon pepper chicken. And these were actual arguments, grown-up people. We're finally leaving. They would not let me out of the car because everybody was going to the Miami Heat game and going to dinner and all these great things. So get out here, get out, jump out of the car at a red light and run to the Brightline station to get home. So these guys have more fun than they're letting on. With that, we're going to have our fantastic leader, Mr. Norton Bonaparte, or are we doing the drawings first? All right, Mr. Norton Bonaparte, our city manager, and the gentleman that's making all of this happen.
Did you learn anything? The future of the city of Sanford is bright, indeed. We heard from the airport, fantastic airport that I have flown out, went to Puerto Rico from there, went to Grand Rapids, Michigan from there. It goes all over the place. We have a hospital, great hospital. Great job of talking about the things that are happening here in Sanford at our hospital that are not happening at some of the other hospitals. The mall. Anybody been to the mall? I went to the mall the other day to get some heels for my shoes. The shoe place was there. That's about it. But that's going to change. We're seeing about things that are happening that are going to make the Seminole Town Mall a highlight of this whole area. So ladies and gentlemen, today I want to again particularly thank Trish from the Chamber to putting this on, partnering with the city, but letting you know that the future of Sanford is indeed very bright. It's not just bright, it's very bright. Also want to thank the people for the food. What do you think about the food? And we want to thank you because you took the time to come out and spend your lunch with us on a beautiful Sanford day, which you could have been out on the river walk, you could have been someplace else, but you chose to be here to learn about what's happening in the fantastic city of Sanford. So with that, give it back to Brady. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, we started this by saying we've got a lot of business people in here, so we all got to get back to work, right? But before we do, I do want to make special mention of Mission Barbecue. We've got Veterans Day coming up on November 11th. Mission Barbecue is phenomenally active in advocating for veterans' efforts and things of that nature. Lisa Jones and her department do a wonderful Veterans Day ceremony downtown, so please come check that out. November 11th at 11 o'clock, correct, Lisa? Yes, so we look forward to seeing you. With that, I would like to introduce Tricia Fallu, our president of the chamber, to raffle off two baskets. One, provided by Mr. Rick Vaughn, which is phenomenal. And the second one, I understand there's $1,400 worth of gift cards that some lucky person is going to walk out of here with. So with that, I'll turn it over to Tricia. You can also talk to Tricia afterwards if you'd like to join the chamber, as I understand.
Thank you, Brady. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming. So the Sanford basket, we're going to raffle. Everybody should have gotten a green ticket. If you didn't get a green ticket, please let me know. Okay. All right, you ready? I'm ready. Okay. This is for the coffee basket donated by Professional Real Estate Company. 349-139. 349-139.
You may want to wait. It's a little heavy.
We'll get a picture too. And then this is for the Sanford basket. So I just want to thank all of the local businesses that donated, and our board members and Main Street board members for buying gift cards and supporting our local Sanford businesses. It's a great basket. You'll be able to have a lot of fun with it. So the number is 0356012.
Win the basket. She's got one of the coolest dresses in the house. Wow. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for attending the 2024 State of the City. We'll see you next year, if not before.